Here are the most recent deaths in the national news, as reported in the first week of July, 2025. At Legacy Weekly, we believe that every name we speak carries more than dates. It carries stories, memories, and legacies that shape our culture. From celebrated actors and athletes to everyday people whose quiet impact reached far beyond their homes, these lives remind us that to live is to leave a legacy. This week, we honor them together with respect, gratitude, and remembrance. Julian McMahon died the 2nd of July, 2025, in Clearwater, Florida, after a battle with cancer. He was 56. McMahon became a television star on the provocative drama Nip Tuck, where he played Dr. Christian Troy, a role that made him a household name in the early 2000s. Movie audiences knew him as Dr. Doom in the 2005 Fantastic Four and its sequel, Rise of the Silver Surfer. Fans also remember him fondly from his time on the supernatural series Charmed, portraying the complex character Cole Turner. McMahon is being remembered as a versatile actor whose characters combined charisma with intensity. Bobby Jenks died the 4th of July, 2025, in Sintra, Portugal, at the age of 44, following adenocarcinoma. A relief pitcher for the Chicago White Sox and Boston Red Sox, Jenks built his reputation as a powerful closer. In 2005, during his rookie year, he helped lead the White Sox to a World Series championship. Baseball fans will never forget the moment he threw the final pitch of the series, sealing a historic victory. Jenks is being remembered for his strength on the mound and the lasting pride he brought to his teams and their fans. Diogo Jota died the 3rd of July, 2025, in Spain, at just 28 years old, in a tragic car accident that also claimed the life of his brother, Andre Silva. Hailing from Portugal, Jota became one of the stars of Liverpool Football Club in the English Premier League. His energetic play and sharp scoring ability helped Liverpool capture the 2024-25 Premier League title. Supporters around the world knew him for his signature goal celebration, a move that embodied his joy and passion for the game. Jota is being remembered as a footballer whose career was cut far too short, but whose spirit of play will not be forgotten. Mark Snow died the 4th of July, 2025, at his home in Connecticut. He was 78. A composer whose music defined television for generations, Snow created the eerie and unforgettable theme to The X-Files, setting the tone for one of the most iconic series of the 1992nd. He scored every episode of the original run and its later revival, weaving atmosphere and suspense into sound. His music also graced other beloved shows, including Heart to Heart, Falcon Crest, Smallville, and Blue Bloods. Snow is being remembered as a master composer whose notes became part of popular culture's soundtrack. Kenneth Colley died the 30th of June, 2025, at his home in Ashford, Kent, England, from complications of COVID-19 and pneumonia. He was 87. Movie fans will recognize him as Admiral Piet in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, the only actor to portray the same Imperial officer in 2 Star Wars films. Beyond the galaxy far, far away, he also played Jesus in Monty Python's Life of Brian. Colley is being remembered for the breadth of his career, from drama to satire, and for leaving a distinct mark on beloved classics. Young Noble died the 4th of July, 2025, in Atlanta, at the age of 47. Born Rufus Lee Cooper III, he was a rapper best known as a member of Outlawz, the hip-hop group co-founded by Tupac Shakur. With Outlawz, he recorded songs that spoke to struggle and resilience, and he collaborated with artists including Bone Thugs and Harmony. Young Noble is being remembered for keeping alive the legacy of Tupac and for contributing his own powerful voice to the sound of 1992nd and 2000nd hip-hop. Mosie Burks died the 7th of July, 2025, in Byram, Mississippi. She was 92. As a lead soloist for the Mississippi Mass Choir, she lifted voices and spirits with performances of gospel standards such as They Got the Word, I'm not tired. Yet, and this morning when I rose. Burks' powerful and joyful singing inspired audiences in churches and concert halls alike. She is being remembered as a gospel legend whose music carried messages of faith and hope for more than 3 decades. Pettis Norman died the 7th of July, 2025, in his sleep at the age of 86. A tight end in the NFL, he played for the Dallas Cowboys and San Diego Chargers in the 1962nd and 72nd, even starting in Super Bowl V with the Cowboys. Off the field, Norman was a civil rights advocate who worked to end segregationist practices within professional football. He also served 6 years in the Texas Army National Guard while still playing in the league. Norman is being remembered not only as an athlete, but also as a man of principle whose efforts helped pave the way for greater equality. Alan Hassenfeld died the 8th of July, 2025, in London at the age of 76. The former CEO of Hasbro Toys, he carried forward the family business into a global brand, but his impact extended beyond business. Hassenfeld became a philanthropist, helping to establish the Hasbro Children's Hospital in Rhode Island. He is being remembered as a leader who combined corporate vision with a heart for service, ensuring that the Hasbro name stood for care as well as creativity. Frank Layden died the 9th of July, 2025, in Salt Lake City at the age of 93. He was head coach of the Utah Jazz in the 1982nd, leading the team to the NBA playoffs 5 straight seasons. Known for his humor and booming personality, Layden later coached the WNBA's Utah Stars. He is being remembered as a basketball ambassador whose passion for the game was matched only by his larger-than-life presence. As we remember individual lives, we also pause for the tragic events that touched entire communities this week. In Central Texas, flash floods struck over the 4th of July holiday weekend. At least 120 people have died, with many more still missing. Families are grieving, neighborhoods are shattered, and the recovery is only beginning. This is a developing situation, and details may change in the days ahead. On the 8th of July, more lives were lost when flash flooding swept through Ruidoso, New Mexico, leaving 3 confirmed dead. Local officials are still working to identify victims and provide support to survivors. At Legacy Weekly, we recognize that every number in a headline is a human being, a family, a story. We invite those who are able to consider supporting relief efforts as neighbors in Texas and New Mexico rebuild their homes and their lives. Some of the most remarkable obituaries we saw this week at Legacy Weekly were not for celebrities, but for everyday people whose lives touched family, friends, and communities in profound ways. We remember a beloved mother and grandmother who, as a child, brought joy to the Easter parade as one of the 10 O'Neill sisters. Wearing matching outfits each spring, she became part of a treasured holiday tradition, a memory that lasted a lifetime for her family. We honor a jazz musician who was also a devoted father and investment advisor. He lived by a simple motto, never give up. Through his music, his work, and his guidance to others, he inspired persistence and resilience in those who knew him best. We pay tribute to a Holocaust survivor who was captured by the Nazis as a teenager. In a moment of impossible courage, he leapt from a passing train and escaped. His survival became a symbol of hope, and his later life was dedicated to reminding others of the strength of the human spirit. And we remember a television innovator who never appeared on camera, yet helped build HGTV into the beloved channel it became. His vision behind the scenes created shows that warmed homes and sparked creativity in millions of viewers. At Legacy Weekly, these stories remind us that every life, famous or ordinary, leaves a legacy, one worth honoring, one worth remembering. In addition to the lives we have lost this week, Legacy Weekly also pauses to remember anniversaries, milestones of beloved figures whose deaths in years past still echo through culture and memory. 1 year ago this week, actress Shelley Duvall died at the age of 75. She left behind a body of work that was both haunting and imaginative. From her unforgettable role as Wendy Torrance in The Shining to her performance in Robert Altman's Three Women, she created characters that linger long after the credits. She was also the creator and host of Fairy Tale Theater, a groundbreaking children's series that brought classic stories to life. Duvall is remembered for her originality, her courage, and her indelible contribution to film and television. 5 years ago this week, we lost Naya Rivera at just 33 years old. Best known as Santana Lopez on the hit television show Glee, Rivera brought depth, wit, and fierce talent to a character that resonated with audiences worldwide. Her performances earned awards and admiration, and she became an icon for young viewers who saw themselves in her. Rivera's memory lives on in the music, laughter, and representation she gave to a new generation. 10 years ago this week, actor Omar Sharif died at the age of 83. Born in Egypt, he became a true international star. His performances in Lawrence of Arabia and Dr. Zhivago are regarded as some of the greatest in film history, and his charm and funny girl won him fans around the globe. Sharif is remembered not only for his artistry, but also for bridging cultures with elegance and charisma. This week also marks the 80th anniversary of the birth of actor Ron Glass. He passed away in 2016 at the age of 71, but is remembered as a beloved television star. He played Detective Ron Harris on Barney Miller in the 1972nd, and earned a new generation of fans as Shepherd Book in the cult classic Firefly. Glass is remembered for his warmth, his subtle humor, and the humanity he brought to every role. And finally, we mark 100 years since the birth of Merv Griffin. He died in 2007 at the age of 82. Griffin was a towering figure in television, hosting his long-running talk show with charm and wit, and creating game shows that remain cultural landmarks, Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. His work shaped how generations of viewers experienced television, and his legacy continues every time those iconic theme songs play. At Legacy Weekly, these anniversaries remind us that time does not dim the impact of a life well lived. Whether 1 year or 100, the memory remains a light to guide us forward. Every week across the United States, flags are lowered to half-staff to honor the lives of Americans whose families, neighbors, and colleagues mourn their loss. This week, we pause to acknowledge these solemn tributes. In Texas and Alabama, flags have been lowered in memory of the many victims of the devastating floods that struck during the 4th of July holiday. Communities across the region are grieving, and the lowered flags stand as a symbol of shared sorrow. In Kansas, flags honor Deputy Brandon Gade of Phillips County, who died in the line of duty. In South Carolina, tributes are held for former Representative James Rowland Smith, and for Deputy Frank Devin Mason of the Darlington County Sheriff's Office, who also died while serving. In Ohio, flags have been lowered to remember Scioto County Commissioner Kathy Coleman. In Missouri, we honor St. Louis Fire Department firefighter Lee Krause, who gave his life in the course of protecting others. In Alabama, flags also mark the passing of former state representatives H. Mack Gibson and Ralph Burke. In Maryland, flags honor Deputy Mark Porter of the St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office. In New York, Fire Chief James Seatek is remembered for his service in West Colesville. In Tennessee, tributes are paid to former Representative Steve Bivens. And in Rhode Island, flags honor former Governor Edward DePrete, a leader in public service. Each of these tributes reflects a life of dedication, sacrifice, or service. At Legacy Weekly, we join their families, friends, and communities in remembrance, with gratitude for what they gave. As we close this week's edition of Legacy Weekly, we remember that every story, whether of a global star or a quiet neighbor, is part of the greater human legacy we all share. These lives remind us that love, service, and memory endure beyond time. Thank you for joining us in honoring them. Subscribe to Legacy Weekly for weekly tributes, and together, let us carry their light forward.